Hey guys, it's Courtney here from Rose Bloom, where we intentionally design our life and business with the cosmos. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about the Scorpio New Moon, which is happening on the night of October 14th, and it's going to be happening at 23 degrees of Scorpio. So, as always, I highly recommend pulling up your own birth chart and locating where 23 degrees of Scorpio is. For example, I know that I have Pluto at 23 degrees of Scorpio, so this moon is going to be exactly conjunct my natal Pluto, which is going to affect or change the way that this new moon changes me or affects me. So it's really helpful to know that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what we can expect from this new moon. First of all, I just wanted to say that this new moon is conjunct an asteroid called Juno. And Juno is a marriage asteroid, but it really represents our devotion to something. And devotion, I guess, past the point of sanity almost. Like you're so devoted to it that it doesn't necessarily matter if it's hurting you or helping you, you're in it. And so I feel like this energy already with Scorpio, which is a very ambitious sign, combined with Juno, is telling us to give ourselves fully over to our ambitions or our dreams or our goals. So, whatever it is in your life that you have been wanting to make progress with and haven't necessarily made that progress lately, this is your chance. Mars is just now moving direct, and the day after it moves direct, we have this new moon coming in and saying, this is a time to plant the seed of intention of the actions that you want to take to move forward to strive towards your goals. This new moon is going to be very, very positive. And just make sure that you stay tuned to your rising sign. And you can always find the links in the description. But I'll give you guys what that's going to look like specifically for you, and then of course the overall energy. So as I was mentioning, this new moon is looking really, really positive, which is something that I feel like we have needed for a long time. Scorpio is inherently a more challenging sign. It requires more out of us. And so there are going to be some elements there where we're going to have to move through shadows and really believe in ourselves in order for that ambition to get us somewhere. So inherently that's kind of built into Scorpio. However, it's being really positively supported through the different angles that it's making to planets. First of all, it's making a sextile to Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and the asteroid Pallas Athena. So all of these are really saying that it's going to be a wonderful time to start new projects, for new opportunities to start flowing. Whenever there is a sextile to Jupiter, is basically saying that all the benevolent energy of Jupiter is coming to lift you up and support you. On top of that, not only is it a good time to make connections, make opportunities happen, for changes to occur, it's also going to be supported by a strong work ethic with a sextile to Saturn, saying that if you put in the work, you will get something out of it and it will be rewarding for you. And then on top of that, with Pluto, with a sextile to Pluto, you're going to have more inner reserves. You're going to have that inner fire and passion in order to make these things like happen. And it's really beautiful to have the support from Pluto, especially with a new moon in Scorpio, because Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So they have very similar energies. So they are working in harmony together, basically saying that you can absolutely achieve whatever your ambition desires if you just put in the time and the effort. And again, that's going to require you to undergo some deep inner transformation in order for that to occur, which means it's not going to necessarily be handed to us or be easy, but it's possible. And it's like this first seed of light that we're starting to receive after so many challenging things happening, after so many retrogrades. It's like finally that go ahead. On top of that, Jupiter is conjunct Pluto, or that just happened recently. So essentially what that means is that this is a strong manifestation energy. It can also sort of multiply the negative things in our life, and I've mentioned this time and time again. So it's going to be really important for you to focus your thoughts on positive things at this time. So direct your energy into things where it's actually going to bear fruit for you, where it's actually going to bring things into your life, instead of focusing on the things that are out of your control or the things that are negative that are happening in this world. And then it's making a sextile to Pallas Athena, which I think is really interesting, that there are two key feminine asteroids playing a role here. Juno, which is showing us to invest ourselves into what we're doing, mind, body, and soul. And then Pallas Athena is coming in here to support, saying that there is this inner warrior within us that can overcome all the obstacles. And we are being supported to show that inner warrior and to use that within our work. So if you feel like you're coming up against obstacles, you can pull on that Pallas Athena energy to then support you and help you throughout this process. On top of this, it's making a trine to Neptune. So I do feel like there is a deeper spiritual backing behind what we're doing. The universe is giving us the green light, the go ahead, saying, we support you. We want you to be working on this right now. And so this trine is a really beautiful thing. At the same time, sometimes trines to Neptune can make us feel like a little bit lazier, but I feel like with all the other energy, it's more of a spiritual aspect rather than, an aspect of laziness. So I would say take the time to meditate, take the time to ground yourself and ensure that the action that you are moving forward with is something that feels spiritually aligned, because I don't think you will actually be able to last throughout all the challenges unless you are spiritually aligned with that path. So it has to have like a deeper, more purposeful why for you in order for this to really bear fruit 6 months from now when we have the full moon in Scorpio. So those are the aspects that are happening specifically to the Scorpio moon. And now I'm just going to talk about what else is going on in the sky that is not interacting necessarily with the moon. So we have a tense angle, a square between Venus and Jupiter, Venus and Saturn, Venus and Pluto, and Venus and Pallas Athena. So basically all that positive energy that was just supporting us, it's still making a tense angle with Venus. And what that means is that the area around money and relationships can feel quite tense at this time. There might still be some unresolved issues, some things that need to have tension in order for you to take action to resolve them. On top of that, what I really think about with Venus is our perspective about the beauty in life and feeling really optimistic, feeling really loved, feeling really supported. And while I do think that this moon is supporting us, I also think that we won't necessarily feel like this light and fluffy feeling around this this new moon. And I think that's a given, knowing what's going on in the world around us at this time. So that also could be the possibility coming in with this square to Venus, is that yes, we're making action. Yes, we are taking action. Yes, we are making progress, but it's not necessarily going to feel as light and easy as we want it to already. The other aspect of this, if we take it kind of bit by bit and look at each square, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend because you want to look at the whole picture, but some of these keywords can kind of fit together to create a whole picture. So I'm going to break it down for you anyway. So when we have a Venus squared to Jupiter, this can often represent, again, like this like laziness, because Venus is us enjoying things in our life, and so is Jupiter. And so when these are making a conversation with each other, we don't necessarily always have like the stamina to desire hard work to make things happen. So that's a possibility that we might have to overcome. We've had this like months of stagnation with Mars retrograde that we might have to like kick things into high gear, but we've already kind of developed this habit of taking things a little bit easier or doing things a little bit slower and things not progressing. So that shift into a different gear might jolt us a little bit, and this square might be challenging us in that way to make that shift or make that progress. Venus making a square to Saturn can make us feel less harmonious within our relationships. So it can make us feel disheartened about the people in our lives. It can make us feel lonely or like we are further distanced from those that we love. And I think that makes a lot of sense given what's happening with the election. I think a lot of people are celebrating and a lot of people are saddened by that. And so there is this discord that is happening already. So that Venus square Saturn makes a lot of sense. However, this energy obviously will be moving quickly past. It's not going to be hanging out there forever. And then Venus square Pluto, this can bring some toxicity coming up through relationships. And I feel like this is going to be more so in global relationships, like in politics, how people are fighting back. There can be manipulation, there can be scandals, and that is really where like the Venus square Pluto, I think, will come into play. So I think as a global or as a collective, community, we will experience these energies in that type of way, where there's going to be still tenseness going on in relationships with people, still manipulation and power issues related to economics and related to politics. I mean, those things have always been existing, but I think they will be more so at the forefront during this new moon as well. But still, besides all that, we're still going to be making personal progress and even, collective progress towards being more evolved and towards going after our dreams. So the last point that I want to talk about before I get into each of the signs is Mercury is making a quincunx to Chiron and is opposing Uranus. So Mercury has been opposing Uranus for a while now. And whenever it's opposing Uranus, it's giving us surprising news or brand new ideas, breakthroughs. It's like the genius strike. But again, it can also be surprising news, unexpected things, or I guess like a way of viewing things or new insights that come in that kind of jolt you. And because it's making such a harsh angle to Chiron, there's this news or this insight is coming in order to help us heal. But I think instead of helping us heal, it's going to feel quite painful. So maybe this is something that will have to come to a resolution at a later point in time. But I feel like right now, whatever news starts to come in around this new moon is not going to be, is going to be painful for some people, if not all people. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure what's going to come to fruition, but there can be choice words with people that you love, or there could be news that comes in regards to politics or the environment or the economy. I feel like something is going to be happening at that time that's going to feel quite painful or uncomfortable. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about where that might fall in your own personal chart. Okay, so let's get right into it. So for Scorpio risings, this new moon is happening in your first house. And as I always say, whenever there is a full moon or a new moon in your first house, it's really bringing about changes in your identity, the way that you show up in the world. And I like that it's a new moon because I think right now, all the things that we are, like all the full moons that typically bring us the gifts, this year have not really been what we've hoped them to be. So to me, what this is saying is that you're going to have this new beginning in the area of your identity, and that in 6 months from now, you're going to start to actually feel like things are coming through for you, like you've solidified those changes that you're starting to get insights about now. Changes to who you are, to the way that you approach your work life. And I think it's going to be a lot of changes to your mental perspective as well, because this new moon is again making that sextile to Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and Pallas Athena, which are all moving through your third house. So your third house, having all these planets move through your third house, is having you undergo a deep internal change to the way that you perceive the world, to the way that you think about life. And even the way that you show up intellectually and interact with those around you. And your creative self-expression, or not your creative self-expression, just your self-expression, the way that you communicate these ideas. So there is a profound change happening from the level of thought to the communication of that thought. And so I think that this is going to support this change in your mental acuity, essentially, is going to support the change in your identity, and it's going to help you achieve those goals that you're going after. Because really what I feel like this new moon is about being ambitious and about setting out to go after these goals that we have on our mind. This new moon is also making a trine to Neptune, which is in Pisces, and that's moving through your fifth house. So all of this energy is being supported by your creativity. So whatever new things that you've been desiring to explore, this is your time to explore them. And I want you to look at it from a very spiritual or aligned place. So when you're thinking about things that you want to explore creatively, what is it that's going to fill up your soul? What is it that's going to help humanity? Thinking about it from like a bigger why or a bigger perspective is really tapping into that Neptune energy and fully supporting you from the spiritual aspect of it, rather than thinking, oh, what can I create that's going to, suit me or like make me money. It's more about what can I bring to life that is going to benefit the world. And then again, shifting your mental perspective about the world in order to make changes to who you are and achieve these goals. So I know it's kind of a lot of information, so I hope that makes sense for you guys. You guys also have Venus moving through Libra in the 12th house, and it's making a square to the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto in your 3rd house. So you guys might see some old stuff come up from relationships. I think that this is actually really positive, because I think that when I was telling you before that you have to, or you are in the process of making changes to the way that you think about things and then communicate those, this is actually all going to relate or connect back to past things and relationships. And so I think, for example, boundary issues are like one of the things that always come to mind for me. Things that you have condoned in the past, things that you have accepted in the past that don't actually suit you and suit you standing in your power, which is a big thing with a new moon in Scorpio. It's not just being ambitious and achieving your goals, it's about standing in your own power in order to achieve those goals. So you have to really be the strongest, most powerful version of yourself in order to manifest these things, in order to go out and achieve them, because you have to believe in yourself. So taking a look at past relationship patterns that have actually hindered you standing in your power is going to be really important, because those are the kinds of blockages that could prevent you from fully manifesting this new life 6 months from now. So I think some of those thoughts could come up around those time. This time, some of those some things could trigger those in your mind in order to be worked through on a mental and emotional level. And so I think that this new moon is asking you for the next 6 months to really be aware of any old patterns that you are recycling that are not serving you in relationships, in order for you to, again, kind of take back your power from any disempowering situations that you've been in. You guys also have Mercury moving through the 1st house at this time, and it's making a quincunx to Chiron in the 6th and opposing Uranus in the 7th. So having Mercury in the 1st and Uranus in the 7th is giving you, again, these new insights into your relationships and your own independence and your own power. So it's really the same thing that I was saying. It's showing up in a different area of your chart. So I think it's, again, supporting this need to work through those old relationship patterns. And this opposition here is going to give you new insights that will help you work through them. Because oftentimes, when we have old repeating patterns, we don't quite recognize them or see them fully. And so having this opposition with Uranus and Mercury is basically going to shine a light and give you those insights that you normally wouldn't be able to see just on your own. It's kind of like the universe giving you that little push of support, that little extra bit of information that you need in order to resolve some past issues. It's also making a quincunx to Chiron in the 6th house. So this could feel like uncomfortable knowledge. I mean, having this wisdom is going to help you, but at first it might be painful. At first it might bring up things that can somehow affect the way that you show up in your day-to-day life. Because the 6th house is really our, like, us showing up for our own health, for our work, and for our daily routines. So there might be something about that that kind of brings like a painful conclusion into those areas of your life. I don't know how, but that's just what this is saying and what I'm seeing. So whatever news is coming through for relationships, you might see that discomfort or that pain manifest through your daily life. So overall, though, even though I just mentioned like a few negative things, this is actually a really, really positive new moon. I think it's going to affect you in a really beautiful way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you bring to life in the next 6 months. Remember to write down your intentions. And yeah, if you like this, please comment down below. Thanks.